The anonymous signal. Start without wasting the time. Evan Carter leaned back in his worn-out chair, staring at the lines of code flickering across his laptop screen. The glow of the screen was the only light in his cramped apartment, reflecting off the empty coffee cups scattered across his desk. The air was thick with the stale scent of old pizza and energy drinks, typical fuel for a hacker. This was his life, hacking into systems and playing with fire on the fringes of the dark web. Tonight wasn't supposed to be any different. He was casually browsing through forums, checking out encrypted messages and anonymous chatter when his screen flickered. A message popped up, unlike anything he'd seen before. It wasn't just some ad for a shady marketplace or a call for help from some newbie. The message was a string of random characters, but something about it caught his attention. There was a pattern, one he recognized after years of decrypting information. Others didn't want to be found. The message read, P3 Netanvava, 5 p.m. 10 SK for 23 and CMV7. His fingers hovered over the keys, trying to make sense of the jumbled text. It looked like gibberish at first glance, but Evan knew better. He grabbed his decoding tool and ran the message through it. It took a few seconds, but then the text unraveled, revealing something much clearer: disaster in 72 hours. Evacuate immediately. Evan's heart skipped a beat. He blinked, reading the message over again to make sure he wasn't imagining it. His pulse quickened as his mind raced. What kind of disaster? Where? And why was the message so deeply encrypted? There was no sender, no timestamp, nothing. It was as if it had appeared out of nowhere. His first instinct was to dismiss it as a prank, some troll trying to mess with the people browsing the dark web. But there was something eerie about the precision of the encryption. Whoever sent this knew what they were doing, and Evan had spent too many years in this world to overlook that fact. He quickly pulled up a tracker he used to monitor network signals and backtrace communications. He needed to know where the message came from, who sent it, and why. His screen filled with data, lines of code flying past as he worked to trace the source. But each time he got close, the trail went cold. It was as if the signal was bouncing off servers across the globe, slipping out of reach every time he thought he had it. Frustration gnawed at him. He tried again, but the result was the same. It was like chasing a ghost. Whoever sent the message had gone to great lengths to hide their tracks. But Evan was nothing if not persistent. He kept digging, staying up through the night, refusing to let the mystery go. Hours passed, the sun began to rise, and just as he was about to give up, his screen lit up with a new alert. Second signal detected. 68 hours remaining. The message was nearly identical to the first, but this time it came with a new piece of information, a location. A chill ran down Evan's spine as he saw the coordinates. He pulled up a map and entered the numbers. The location? A small city in the Midwest, population 20,000. Evan stared at the screen, heart pounding in his chest. Was this real? Was there really a disaster coming? And if so, what kind? Earthquake? Terrorist attack? Something worse? He didn't have answers, but one thing was clear: the clock was ticking. He couldn't ignore it. If there was even a chance this was real, he had to do something. He knew the authorities wouldn't listen to him, not with his background. He was just a hacker with a record. They wouldn't take him seriously. But there had to be someone who could help. With a deep breath, Evan grabbed his phone and dialed an old contact, Julia, a journalist he had worked with a few years back. She had her doubts about him back then, but if anyone could help him dig deeper, it was her. The phone rang a few times before she answered, her voice groggy from sleep. "Evan, it's been a while. What's going on?" she asked, her voice laced with suspicion. "I need your help," he said, not wasting any time. "I've stumbled onto something big. There's going to be a disaster, and I think it's happening soon." There was silence on the other end before Julia sighed. "This better not be another one of your wild theories, Evan. It's not. I swear. I've got evidence, signals, encrypted messages. I can't trace them, but I've got a location and a timer." "There's only 68 hours left," Julia hesitated. "Give me the details. I'll look into it." Evan rattled off what he knew, and Julia, although skeptical, agreed to meet up later that day. As the hours ticked by, Evan couldn't shake the feeling that he was missing something. He had no idea what kind of disaster was coming or who was behind it. But whoever they were watching. He was sure of that now. His paranoia grew. Every noise outside his window, every flicker of his computer screen, made him jump. He was used to being invisible, but this time he felt exposed. And then it happened. Just as he was packing up to meet Julia, his laptop froze. The screen went black and a new message appeared, filling the screen in bold letters, "You've been warned." "Stop now." Evan's blood ran cold. The message disappeared as quickly as it had appeared, leaving him staring at his reflection in the dark screen. Someone knew he was digging, and they wanted him to stop. But Evan wasn't one to back down. If anything, this only confirmed that he was onto something. He grabbed his things and headed out the door, more determined than ever.
As he stepped into the early morning light, he couldn't help but feel that time was running out, not just for the small town, but for him too. The signal had drawn him into a game he didn't fully understand, and with every hour that passed, the danger grew closer. But Evan Carter wasn't about to let a warning stop him. He'd spent his life breaking through barriers, and this was no different. The countdown had started, and he was determined to find the truth before it was too late.